Okay, if you watched our Good Friday and Easter Sunday video and you're a Bible believer, you know it wasn't Friday when Jesus died, nor was it Sunday morning when he rose from the grave. Where did Good Friday and Easter start, and is it Christian? For years, all Catholics were required to abstain from meat on Friday and substitute fish. They were told to do this to remember Christ's crucifixion. The scriptures never associate fish with Friday. The word Friday comes from Freya, who was regarded the goddess of peace, joy, and fertility. The symbol of her fertility being the fish. The word fish comes from dag, which implies increased or fertility. Fish have an amazing ability to reproduce. The goddess of sexual fertility among the Romans was called Venus. Friday was regarded as her sacred day because it was believed that the planet Venus ruled the first hour of Friday. And to make the significance complete, the fish was also regarded as being sacred to her. Okay? Solomon, when he was old, let his pagan wives turn his heart from the Lord, and he worshipped Ashtaroth. The fish was also regarded sacred to Ashtaroth. The goddess Isis had the fish as her symbol, and Friday was her sacred day. It just seems like more than a coincidence that Catholics have been taught that Friday is a day of abstinence from meat and a day to eat fish. Why do Christians have sunrise services and eat ham? And why do Christians have Easter bunnies and hunt Easter eggs? Why do Christians color eggs? What does all this have to do with Jesus? Did the early Christians dye Easter eggs? Did Peter and Paul ever conduct a sunrise service? An Easter sunrise service. The word Easter appears in the scriptures once, in Acts chapter 12 verse 4. But it was Herod that was observing Easter and not the early Christians. Easter had nothing to do with Christianity. The word Easter comes from the name of the pagan goddess, the goddess of the rising light of day and spring. Easter is but a more modern version of Astaroth, Astar, or Ishtar, which is actually pronounced Easter. The Easter egg didn't start in Christianity. The egg was a sacred symbol to the Babylonians, who believed an old fable about a giant egg falling from heaven into the river Euphrates. From this egg, according to legend, emerged the goddess Ishtar, or Easter. A lot of people color their eggs red. They say it represents the blood of Jesus Christ. Eggs were being dyed red long before Jesus died on the cross. On the altar of Easter, at sunrise, the priest of Easter would impregnate virgins. 1 year later, the priest would sacrifice those 3-month-old infants on the same altar and dye Easter eggs in the blood of those sacrificed babies. Where did eating ham on Easter Sunday come from? Alright, if you remember in Ezekiel chapter 8 verse 14, and then he brought me to the door of the gate of the Lord's house, which was toward the north, and behold, there sat women weeping for Tammuz. Tammuz was another sun god. Tammuz, when he was 40 years old, was killed by a wild boar. His mother Semiramis, later to be called Ishtar or Easter, set up 40 days of fasting for Tammuz. Today many call this Lent. During this time, many people deny themselves pleasures. Then at the end of 40 days of weeping, they would eat ham at sunrise. This day is Easter Sunday. What about sunrise services? Having sunrise services also started as a Babylonian practice. They did this in honor of the sun. Okay, if you look in Ezekiel chapter 8, verse 16 through 17. And he brought me into the inner court of the Lord's house, and behold, at the door of the temple of the Lord, between the porch and the altar, were about 25 men, with their backs toward the temple of the Lord, and their faces toward the east, and they worshipped the sun toward the east. Then he said unto me, Hast thou seen this, O son of man? It is a light thing to the house of Judah, that they commit the abominations which they commit here. For they have filled the land with violence. They have returned to provoke me to anger. And lo, they put the branch to their nose. That's what they would do. They'd face the east. They'd sing songs and hymns with a branch to their nose, worshiping the sun. People keep these days in honor of the Lord, but what does the Lord think about it? Alright, look in Deuteronomy chapter 12, verses 30 through 32. Take heed to thyself that thou be not snared by following them, after that they be destroyed from before thee, and that thou inquire not after their gods, saying, How did these nations serve their gods? Even so will I do likewise. Thou shalt not do so unto the Lord thy God, for every abomination to the Lord which he hated have they done unto their gods. For even their sons and their daughters they have burned in the fire to their gods. Whatsoever and what thing soever I command you, observe to do. Thou shalt not add thereunto, nor diminish from it. The Lord told us what to do in remembrance of him. You look in 1 Corinthians chapter 11, verse 24 through 26. And when he had given thanks, he brake it and said, Take, eat. This is my body, which is broken for you. Do this in remembrance of me. After the same manner he also took the cup, when he had supped, saying, This is the cup. This cup is the New Testament in my blood. This do ye, as oft as ye drink it, in remembrance of me. For as often as ye eat this bread, and drink this cup, ye do show the Lord's death till he come. Okay? The Lord told us there exactly what to do, and we're not to add to it or diminish from it. Okay? In Ezekiel chapter 8, verse 18, tells us what the Lord thinks about these pagan holidays. Therefore will I also deal in fury. My eyes shall not spare, neither will I have pity. And though they cry in my ears with a loud voice, yet I will not hear them. Next time you're taking part in these pagan traditions, think about where they came from. If it started from some other God worship, don't do it. Stick with Jesus and what he told us, and leave the pagan traditions to the pagans. Alright, if you look in 2 Corinthians chapter 6, verse 17, it says, Wherefore, come out from among them, and be ye separate, saith the Lord, and touch not the unclean thing, and I will receive you. Thank you.